Discordia. Why do we say so? Simple. No matter how many massively multiplayer online games you've played, you've never played one like this. Yeah, some things will be familiar. For $15 a month, you'll get to live a virtual life in a computer-generated world. You'll quest, fight, level up, learn a profession, and hang out with other players. But that's just the beginning. Thanks to a huge leap forward in game design, your virtual life in Discordia may seem more real and more exciting than, how can we put this, real life. What's new? Discordia is the first MMO to be developed with real-time interface technology, an innovation that Gamer magazine called the greatest boon to gamers since the cable modem. Real-time interface technology makes it possible for us to customize individual adventures and outcomes just for you, based on your character build and playing style. And if you happen to be questing with friends or fighting in a 40-person raid, RIT will accommodate the entire group. Just think. A quest you've done 3 times before is interrupted by a terrible new foe, or a temporary combat pet arrives at a critical moment to assist you during a boss fight, or you receive an unexpected gift of gold, health potions, or even a primo, a rare magical weapon or piece of gear. You won't know how, when, or where real-time interface technology will strike, but it definitely will sooner or later. It's impossible to predict the surprises ahead, yet there are ways for you and your group to make the most of whatever happens. We'll let you in on a few secrets. So do yourself a favor. Read before you jump in. The life you save may be your own.
The extended manual and glossary can be found at the end of this audiobook.
Chapter 1. The problem with killing wolvers was that, aside from their lupine heads, they were completely human. Their battle cries could only be made by human throats, and they gasped the same way anyone would when Mrs. Keller's daggers pierced their torsos. The death blow itself sounded with a juicy thump, like a dowel going through a watermelon. Lance had an uncomfortable feeling that the sound effect was based on actual research. Altogether, they had bagged 15. The last one was female, and she collapsed at their feet, blood pulsing from her wounds. Lance hated killing the females. Even while dying, the wolf-headed girls looked really good in their buckskinned leggings and vests, and he felt like the lowest of the low as he looted their glittering corpses. He said as much to Mrs. Keller before the ambush, but she just laughed at him. A wolver was a mob, a mobile, non-playable character. What's more, it was a hostile mob, born to be killed. According to the quest's narrative, wolvers were infesting the hill towns of the borders and terrorizing the farmers and shepherds. The Border Patrol had put a bounty on their heads. Anyone who turned in 12 collars would get a reward from Sergeant Brohampton, 5 silvers and a chainmail cloak that gave +5 to strength. With a reward like that, how could killing them be wrong? Mrs. Keller had been harping about that cloak for the past hour, and when she realized they had finally killed and even exceeded their quota, she cheered once in her shrill, thin voice, then took off. Lance tried to follow her, but the hills were steep, and after 3 weeks of playing, he still wasn't great at maneuvering. Mrs. Keller had no problem zigzagging up the slopes, but Lance always managed to choose routes that were impossible to scale, and all he did was run in place like an idiot. Within 30 seconds, Mrs. Keller was completely out of sight. Lance typed a message, fingers flying over the keyboard. It appeared as blue letter party chat in the lower left corner of his screen. Lance says, "Lost. Where are you?" Mrs. Keller says, "Stay put. Be there in a sec." A lone zombie sorcerer wouldn't survive long in such a heavily patrolled area. He was sure to be attacked, and his cloth armor couldn't deflect many direct strikes. Mrs. Keller, a hobgoblin brigand, wore chainmail that could take a lot of pounding. Ideally, she'd make herself the monster's primary target, and Lance would cast his spells from a distance, out of harm's way. If Mrs. Keller couldn't hold the aggro, they'd die pretty quickly. But that was happening less